Good afternoon and welcome to TechMag. I'm your host, Moyo, and today we are joined by the former Minister of Energy and Power Development, Advocate Fortune Chasi. Recently, there's been a trend in the adoption of electric cars, and Zimbabwe has had issues with the import bill in terms of fuel consumption. Petrol, diesel, those are essentials that as a country we cannot run away from, and they bring a huge burden on the country's import bill. As I said, we're joined by the former Minister of Energy and Power Development, Honorable Advocate Chasi. He is now the Vice Chairperson of Affordability, a South African-based company that manufactures electric cars, and he is going to discuss with us the merits of what it means to open shop for electric cars in Zimbabwe, in as far as reducing the import bill of fuel and many other benefits, which also include environmentally friendliness to the system. Honorable Chasi, welcome to TechMag.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. There is so much expectation from you, being a former Minister of Energy and Power Development, and now here you are coming back as the Vice Chairperson of a company that is manufacturing electric cars. Electric cars, people are hoping that this will help the government, this will help the country in reducing the import bill. Because you know, when you're a Minister of Energy, fuel was really sometimes scarce, but you made a sterling job that even the entire country and the world were alarmed when you were no longer Minister of Energy, because no one has actually done what you did in that stint as Minister of Energy. But all the same, tell us, what does this mean?
Well, we're entering a new era where we are embracing new technologies. Electric, we're doing, first of all, launching bikes, motorbikes, which are electrically powered. And this is our response really to the world or international trend where big automotive companies have already made indications that they won't be making the combustion engine anymore. So we don't want to be left behind as Africa and as Zimbabwe and the sub-region. And so we took it upon ourselves to nosedive. The product that we are offering really is an offering to every sector of the economy, from the student at the university who struggles to get to the university, to individuals who want to go to Mbare to get their ways to go and sell, to corporates that want to give their messengers, or even executives, because fuel is a huge cost on at an individual level and for corporations. But we also have other compelling reasons why we should move in this direction. We have, as a country, obligations to other nation states, to the international community, to achieve our own SDGs, particularly SDG 7. Now, when we talk of EVs, electric vehicles, we're talking of no noise. We know how much noise petrol-powered motorbikes make. We know the smoke that was subjected to by vehicles in this country and elsewhere. So what we're really doing is to make sure that generations to come enjoy a friendly, noise-free environment where we have drastically reduced our carbon footprint.
That's truly amazing. You have mentioned the advantages that we are going to be having through these electric vehicles. I also am to understand that they are also environmentally friendly. Perhaps you may expatiate on the environmental friendliness of electric vehicles over what we're used to.
Well, let's take the example of this studio. You can't do your work properly if you have cars making noise outside. And if you listen carefully, you can hear them. And so many people in offices are distracted and disturbed by the noise that are made by buses, trucks, and even private vehicles. And if you've come close to a running electrical vehicle, you won't know that it's running, even if you're driving it, because there is no noise whatsoever. And it has no smoke, because there's no combustion that is taking place. So this is extremely friendly. And if we adopt these technologies on a massive scale, we will be able to contribute significantly to the control of the climate change that we've been a victim of in this country. If you remember, Cyclone Idai. And so it's not a laughing matter at all. It's something that needs to be embraced, and we're delighted that the government of Zimbabwe is working very hard to create a congenial environment for investment, which is why, after South Africa, we've decided that we should come and launch here. It is in recognition of the Zimbabwe's open to business mantra and the willingness of government to encourage investment in this respect. This is not to say that not much more can be done. We are hoping that government will put in place policies that allow these vehicles to come in at an affordable price. Affordability is key for us. We would like to make our money from the volumes rather than the price of a single item. And we will take great pleasure in seeing government departments. For example, if you look at Madomeni, extension officers, very key. And government is not awash with money to supply fuel, and those people do a very, very important job. And so this is why I say that there is something for everyone. Government ought to be one of the biggest customers and leaders in terms of assimilating these technologies, and private companies themselves, as well as many, many individuals who would like to control their own movement and not be controlled by buses or combis.
How much are we looking at the price of an average electric vehicle in comparison to the vehicles that use petrol, diesel? In the long run, yes, there are benefits economically, there are benefits eco-friendly. But how much is an electric vehicle cheaper, more affordable, rather, compared to the
I think obviously I'm not able to discuss the specific prices for Zimbabwe for obvious reasons. We are hoping that government will respond, for example, with duty exemptions, even if for a limited period. But we think that in order for the products to be assimilated in the economy at an exponential rate, really, there should be no tax, and the benefits will accrue to government, which has to struggle to get foreign currency. So we'll be able to compute an appropriate figure for this economy. But our aim really is to make as small a margin as possible, a margin that still allows us to be in business, but which enables the ordinary person to engage, to be able to acquire one of these assets. There are many people, for example, Korokoza, people are forced to buy a Honda Fit when they probably don't really need it, and their terrain is not good for a vehicle such as some of these vehicles, but a bike will be all terrain and they can maneuver. And I can imagine myself as a member of parliament, I can drive to my constituency and then hop onto my bike and visit the individual families and talk to them, even those areas which are not accessible. So in due course, we'll be able to pronounce ourselves on the pricing structure for the bikes. And then, of course, we've already come up with a prototype of a pickup. We're really focusing at vehicles that will provide assistance to the productive process at the moment.
Yes, indications are that you intend on not bringing the finished product, but you want to bring components so that we are able to make from Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Are you going to be assembling, more like wheel of help, or are you going to be manufacturing? Can you explain that process?
Well, I think as we move into the market, we would like to begin to assemble. Whilst we're preparing ourselves for the manufacture. Being a Zimbabwean myself and an African, I know that job availability, employment is a problem, and government is working very hard to create employment, and so we don't want to export jobs. We would like to create jobs. We have many talented young people who at the moment are not able to have jobs. So I think it would be very remiss of us to export jobs to other countries. We would rather create jobs locally and export the products to other countries. So initially, as I said, we'll import the kits and assemble, and then whilst we're making ourselves ready for the manufacturing plants that we are basically looking at locating initially in Harare and Bulawayo, and as we grow, making the production process as close to the customers as possible, because all that has implications on the pricing of the products.
So the assembly plant that you are bringing in, we're going to be having two assembly plants, one in Bulawayo, one in Bulawayo rather, and the other in Harare, just two.
Yes.
And if so, tell us the prospects of the job creation that you may have at hand, because by July you're supposed to be opening shop. So this probably means that you already have things on the ground.
Yes, well, we, as I said, we'll be launching in Harare in a week or two, and then in Bulawayo thereafter. We'll begin to already put in the logistical processes of assembling the units into place, and soon after the launch is here, we'll be able to talk to the public and give the necessary information. But our current estimates at the moment are that at a minimum we will need or create about 1,000 jobs, and we are really targeting young people whom we think will be easy to skill in these areas. The fast learners, most of them very educated and eager to get into the employment situation, but there will be numerous downstream benefits for the communities in Zimbabwe, the young people, to find jobs to look after themselves.
Also, there is talk that they're supposed to be charging electric stations for these electric vehicles, for us to have a fully fledged, EV industry.
Yes.
Are these charging stations more like fuel stations, like in terms of the fact that fuel is the one that gets running vehicles that use petrol, diesel, and in this case, the charging stations are the ones also that will be kind of like fueling and refueling the electric vehicles. Can you expagorate for that on us?
Yes. Excuse me. Our intentions really are not to be a Bambazonke. We would like to create opportunities for other entrepreneurs, particularly young people. Remember, the brains behind this company is Dr. Mandla Ndlovu, Mandla who is Mandla Lamba, who is a very young man, very ambitious and focused. And so the intentions really are that downstream we allow other entrepreneurs to support this industry. Already you'll be aware that we have a few electric vehicles already in the country, in private hands, and a few investors are already in place, but with a totally different approach. We are looking at assembling initially and manufacturing, but the difference lies in that we don't expect the individual to be dependent on the availability of electricity. We are going to have a situation where if your battery is dying, you go and exchange your battery with the dying battery. So the risk of you not having power is really quite remote, and the charging responsibility will be with somebody else who, for example, will use friendly sources of power like solar to be charging the batteries and supplementing obviously with electricity. And we think this is a game changer significantly. So imagine yourself driving to Bulawayo, you get to Gweru, and you swap your battery, and you have an extra 360 kilometers to do, and you get to Bulawayo. On the way back, you can swap in Gweru or Kwekwe or wherever the station is situated. It's a huge advantage. Whether there's fuel or not, that is not your concern. You are traveling freely, and you are really actualizing the freedom of movement right that the Constitution speaks about.